Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with my top 12 knives of the first half of 2019. No, we're not quite there yet, I know. But as far as the knife community is concerned, the first half of 2019 is over because Blade Show starts in a couple weeks. Everything that I'm going to have coming in is going to get in just a few days before Blade Show. I'm probably not even going to get a chance to review it. So for me, the first half of the quote-unquote model year is over with. I start my model year at the time that I do the top 10 of the previous year. So my top 10 of 2018 knives came out, I think, middle of December. And anything that I got like after that, I'm counting as 2019. So if you didn't see something, it's probably in the previous one, or I didn't get my hands on it yet. That's a very important thing to remember when you're watching this. If you're upset because your favorite knife didn't make it, it's only stuff that I reviewed. I can only talk about things that I put my hands on. I'm not going to add stuff just based on reputation, because sometimes the reputation is wrong, or it's overhyped, or I just don't particularly like it. And it's my channel. These are my opinions. So this is stuff that I have reviewed. It has to have come out in 2019, or like I said, after the middle of December of last year. I judge it. No, I don't have like a set like metrics of how I do this. There's not a spreadsheet involved. I judge on the usual stuff I judge a knife on, as far as the ergonomics, the blade, all that stuff. I put a big amount of value for these top 10, top 12 lists, and also significance is a big factor when I'm doing these top 10 and top 12 lists. What do I mean by that? I mean, like, is it a significant turn for the company? Is it a company introducing a new design language that you can see is going to be going forward a lot? Is it a significant improvement for the company in general? That kind of stuff. But without further ado, let's get going. These are my top 12. I am going to pick my favorite one so far of the first half of this year based on those three things that I said. So let's get rolling. First up, I have the ZT-0562 tie. I really like this. There's no surprise there. It is basically an update of a previous model, which may hurt it come the end of the year. But this is just the half year, top 12. It's not a significant, it's a significant change, I think, in the overall feel of the knife compared to the carbon fiber. But, you have 20 CV steel, full titanium. It's a blank slate to do a lot of mods on. Previous ones had either G10 or carbon fiber over here. $280. Not at all inexpensive, but great Rick Henderer design, and action is just fantastic, and I really do like it a whole lot. So that's going to make my top 12. Next up, we have the Benchmade Superfreak. These are in no particular order until I pick the final, by the way. The Superfreak, again, a change of a previous knife, but this is a much more significant change. They completely changed the scale material. They went from that grippy, rubbery stuff, which I never really particularly cared for, to this really cool looking G10 M4 blade steel. $191, pretty much universally loved, I would say. Some of us aren't too stoked about the M4 blade, but yeah, other than that, it's just a fantastic freaking knife, and one of the best things that Benchmade makes. This is not the stock pocket clip, by the way. I did put a deep carry clip on it. Back when you could get them for free, now they charge you a whole whopping $5 for them, which I think is more than fair, but that's a whole other topic. But Superfreak, great knife. This one I think will probably be on the list at the end of the year also, I think, for almost everybody. Because like I said, it is an upgrade of a previous version, but it's a significant one. Next up, we are going to do the Para 3 Lightweight. This is a knife that, as soon as all of us heard about it, we were really waiting for it. It's a compression lock, lightweight with FRN scales, CTS BD1N steel, and its action is great. It's everything you'd expect from a compression lock, but in a much lighter weight package. I think this was 2.4 ounces, if memory serves, $91, very reasonably priced. Just a great knife that I think Spyderco is going to sell a bazillion of. And when I did the review of this, BD1N hadn't really been put through the tests yet. If you go to Cedric and Ada Outdoors, he is kind of, knife testing guru. He put it through its paces. It's darn close to 20 CV in edge retention, which I thought it would be good, but I was really pleasantly surprised how good it was. It was very close to a Spyderco S30V. And for $91, that ain't bad at all. This will almost absolutely make the end of the year list as well because the significance of it. It's Spyderco putting compression lock and FRN handles. There's already a Sage 5 lightweight coming in the same kind of thing. You're gonna see a bunch of Spyderco lightweights. I can't fathom there won't be a Paramilitary 2 lightweight. I just can't fathom they wouldn't do that. It seems like leaving money on the table if they don't. Next up, this is one I was not expecting to like nearly as much as I did. This is one that somebody sent me as a loaner, and I wound up trading for it. This is the Kaiser Begleiter Titanium Tanto. I don't normally care for Tantos. I'm not anti-Tanto, but I'm not super into them. But the grind on this is so thin and so slicey, especially here on the flat, and it's just freaking gorgeous. It's just looks alone made this keep my collection. $169. Not cheap, but not too terribly expensive. S35 VN steel. Action is really good. Nice and slender carry. I've really fallen for this thing. I really do like it a lot. This was actually what was in my pocket today. Because I am a slave to Instagram things, and it's Titanium Tuesday and Tanto Tuesday, so it knocks two out with two hashtags with one knife. You can't beat that. It's the double hashtag knife, but yeah, I love this thing. It's really, really grown on me. Very surprise hit for me. $169. I don't know if it's a hit sales-wise, but it's a hit in my heart. Next up, another one that I was not expecting to like as much, and I really have come to super enjoy, would be the Cold Steel 8010. Big, bulky sucker, not something I normally like. $180. They used to be cheaper when the first run of them was a little cheaper. Now they've gone up to $179.99, which I think is actually a pretty fair price for how well built this thing is. And you've got S35 VN steel. This came out alongside the 8015 with the Scorpion lock. I chose to get the 8015 first. I don't have the 8015 anymore, and I bought one of these, and I'm really liking it. The 8015 is a great knife too, but I think this is just a better one. It's just the ergonomics on it are just so fantastic, and yeah, it's bulky, it's heavy, but action on it is great for a triad lock. This is great. I carry this thing way more often than I should, given its size, but I'm really, really liking it, and maybe I'm just getting into bigger knives lately, but great knife, the 8010. Next up, what do we have? We have a CRKT. We have the CRKT large Pilar, specifically this D2 version. This D2 version goes for $49.99. It's blacked out blade, which again, I'm never super excited about that, but it does look cool in this knife. Everything's all blacked out, so it looks pretty awesome. Yeah, it's just a large version of your standard Pilar. It's still not super large though. As you can see, these are 1-inch squares. I'll just set it down for a minute. You can see it's still not a very large knife. But D2 steel, much better than the 8CR13 womp you got on most of the regular production ones. This is a full-on regular production Pilar, so you are just going to be able to get this. It's not one of the Blade HQ exclusives with cool steel. This is actually one you can just go buy. G10 on this side. It also comes in a cheaper version for $40 with 8CR13 with the G10 or with the full stainless like the OG was. But this thing finds its way in my pocket a whole lot. I do really enjoy carrying it. Got that Warren Cliffy sheep's footy sort of blade on there. Very, very nice knife. Very good job, CRKT. Still wish they had some better bushings in it, but this one's broken in pretty good, and it's actually pretty smooth. Probably complain about it for no reason. And it has a flipper. The other Pilar does not have the flipper, so this definitely makes the list as well. Next up, we have the Steel Will Lanner. This one was a hard choice because I debated between this and another Steel Will. This is the Lanner. This is in this particular size. It's $59.99. You can also get a large for $63.99. This is the mini, but it's still a pretty good size knife, as you can see. The only thing that almost kept it off the list, and by the end of the year, I may change my mind and put this other one on the list instead. But Steel Will came out with two great knives in pretty rapid succession. Also, the Steel Will Piercer. Given the day of the week, I could have chosen either one of these. This day of the week, I chose the Lanner. I do find the Lanner in my pocket a bit more often. The Piercer comes in this titanium frame lock, which I don't recommend as much. They're a bit pricey, and they're like $110, still perfectly reasonable for a titanium frame lock, but the liner lock version works just as well and is the same price as these. But I went with the Lanner. at the last minute. I couldn't really decide. But I just love the ergonomics of it. I love, you can choke up on it. It's very comfortable in the pocket, super easy to get your hand by. It's just a really cool knife, kind of a hybrid between, I would say, their Intrigue and the Cutjack. And that's a good thing, because those are both really good knives, and this is just kind of like they had a little baby. Super comfortable in the hand. It's just a great knife. D2 steel, by the way, if I didn't mention that on this. Next up, we have, this one was another tough decision. And I'm going to do kind of the same thing, the same kind of cop-out. I could have picked either of these. I'm picking the Civivi Anthropos. This is one of 2 Isham designs that Civivi is making. There is another one on the way called the McKenna, which that I may even like better by the specs, because it's slimmer and lighter, and it's named, and my daughter's name is McKenna, so maybe I'll like it better. But this is a really cool design from Elijah Isham. It still has all the Isham flair to it, but it is very practical and easy to use. This is the smaller of the 2. This is the 3-inch blade version. You also have the Plethoros, which is a larger knife. I could have picked either of these. I just like the ergonomics a bit better on the Anthropos, so that's why I went with that. And you are looking at $79.99 for these. I think that went up a little bit too. I think they were $74 something when I did the review, but the last run is $79.99. Very, very cool knife. And it's just cool to get an Elijah Isham design for anything under $100. And in a cool looking package. It is carbon fiber laminate, but it looks great. Very thin, slicey blade. Just a really cool, fun, easy knife to use. Next up, we're sticking with the WE family here. The WE Knives Malice. This is a Ferrum Forge design, and it's super cool. Not just this awesome flame anno, although that ups the cool factor by about 2.2 out of 10. I'm going to be very specific about that. But also, ergonomics are great. It is a bulky thing. But again, I've been kind of into bulkier knives lately, so that actually is a good thing to me. Nice place to choke up. M390 steel, full titanium, everything. Ceramic ball bearings, ceramic detent. And it's just a very well finished blade. Action is outstanding. You can spidey flick it. It's not super easy to do, but you can do it. You can thumb flick it sometimes. Yeah, I can't do it at the moment. Much easier to spidey flick than thumb flick. But yeah, as I said, good ergonomics. Fits in the hand well. And these are, let me look at my prices here. $274.60 for the plain Jane version and $283.10 for this Flame Anno. The Flame Anno is sold out almost everywhere, but they'll have more of them. It's WE. They'll make more. Next up, I probably should have put it next to its Kaiser brethren, but this is one of the only other companies. If you count Civivi and WE as the same company, it got 2 in here. The only other company to get 2 in this list is Kaiser again. The Mini Sheepdog Titanium. The Mini Sheepdog came out previously. They have upgraded the Vanguard G10 liner lock version to 154 cm. Not quite enough for me to put it on the list, but just changing the steel. But they also came out with this titanium version, which is also new and a little dirty. There we go. I just really like this. I handled one briefly at Blade HQ, and I didn't think I really wanted one. And then I bought one to get into review, to review the 2 Sheepdogs together, and this thing has barely left my pocket since. It's just been a really fun little secondary knife. Fits in that 5th pocket of your jeans and all that stuff. It's kind of cleavery, Warncliffe-y blade. It's just, and it's very comfortable. It doesn't quite, I can't quite get a full 4-finger grip on it, but it's very comfortable, good place for your finger to land, all that stuff. It's just an extremely useful little tool to have in your pocket, and it's pretty. The action is outstanding. It comes in either this, or there's a blue with a bronze collar on it, and then there's also a bronze, I think, coming out, I saw. So, yeah, very, very cool knife. And these are also $169, same as the Begleiter, which is not a surprise because they're the same company, same materials. Next up, this one, I'm going to be honest, is making it primarily due to significance. I said that was one of the categories that I judge stuff by, but I really debated on putting this one in. It may not make it by the end of the year, but it has to be the Gerber Fastball it's just such a big change for them. I know that they do make other higher end, knives, but this one is unassisted. It's just it is a very nice, ball bearing manual flipper, and at an enthusiast price, $99.99 or $105 if you get the blacked out version. I think it's a great thing that they're going this way. I hope they continue to. This may be a bit of a consolation prize to say thanks for doing this, but I really hope they do continue to do it. Made in the USA, and it's a genuinely good knife from Gerber, and it's been a while since we could all say that with a straight face, and it's just a genuinely good knife. Last up, I should say, number 12. This is another one I debated because it's just an update of a previous model, but you have to go with the Real Steel G5 Metamorph Mark II. The changes are they completely changed the scales. They're still aluminum, but they have all this, milling on them now, so you get a bit more traction. Deep carry pocket clip. This is one I actually asked you guys in the live show. Do you guys think this qualifies as new for this year? And I got a pretty unanimous yes, so we're going to stick with it. But it's got all the other things I've always loved about the Metamorph. I like this long, very stabby blade, 14C 28N steel, which Real Steel does a good job with, and it's just so smooth. And if you are remotely interested in front flippers, but aren't interested in the price that some of them are, give one of these a shot. $59.60. Not bad at all. Comes in this color. There's a blue. I believe there's also a black, and I think there was a green for a little bit, but I think that might have been an exclusive from somebody. But yeah, just a great freaking knife, and especially if you are at all front flipper curious, grab yourselves one of these. All right, so where does that leave us for my favorite so far? I'm going to bring out 3, and then I'm going to pick 1. And again, this is just so far this year. I may change my mind by the end of the year. 8010, I have to put on the list. The Superfreak, I have to put on the list. In the finalist list, and the Para 3 Lightweight. Which one am I going to pick? The 8010 is a great knife. I think it's going to be a huge seller for Cold Steel, even though it's one of their more expensive knives. But I do think they're going to sell a ton of them. But it's big. It's a bit more of a niche sort of knife. Not as much as you'd think if you get one in your hand, but it's still a bit of a niche sort of knife. The Superfreak, as I said, is still kind of an update of a previous design, but it is so updated. But it is still kind of an update of a previous design. So is the Para 3 Lightweight, but it's in a huge way. This is a completely difference in the way it's built, in everything, and I think as far as significance goes, that's what pushes it over the edge for me to call it my favorite knife that I've reviewed so far in 2019. It's just, I think they're going to sell a bazillion. They're going to come in different versions and different steels and all that stuff, because Spyderco always does that. And I think this $91 version is a great base to start from. But again, we'll see how it goes throughout the year. Maybe it won't even be on the list at all by the end of the year, but right now, it's my favorite. Some people complain about the fact that the stop pin sits in FRN on one side. A lot of Cold Steels sit on G10 on both sides with no liners at all, and they're perfectly fine. I don't think that's going to wind up being an issue. It also only has a bushing on one side. Will that become an issue? We'll see. And if it does, maybe it'll fall off the list. But as of my, less than, I've had it for like 2 weeks and been trying to use it as much as I can, I still think it's pretty great. And even if a couple of those issues pop up to a small extent, they're just going to sell so many of these. It's such a significant knife for Spyderco with a compression lock FRN. And we know now, I trust Pete from Citric and Ada explicitly. Is that the right word? I don't know. I trust him a lot. And he put it through the test, and the BD, I know the steel is good. That was one thing that was a question mark. We know now the steel is going to be good. So, yeah, I have to call it my favorite knife of the first half of 2019, the Para 3 Lightweight. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.